looking at what we've been talking about, the idea of salvation. I want to go to a section of scripture that was not read today, because I think this one comes from Isaiah chapter 60. Remember, arise and shine, for your light has come. The glory of the Lord is risen upon you. Right? Behold, a great darkness shall cover the earth, and great darkness shall cover all the earth. But the Lord himself shall arise and be what? And be your light, or your rear guard, as it is said. So let's get back and let's look at this. We want to continue to talk about the idea of wakefulness. We've been talking about that last week. We talked about salvation. So I want to talk again today about salvation as wakefulness. Okay? Salvation as wakefulness. I want to incorporate some of the verses that was read. Okay? Number one, okay? Salvation is the awakening of the soul towards God. Okay? Is the awakening. Okay. Salvation is the awakening of the soul towards God. Arise and shine, for your light is come, and the glory of the Lord has risen. For behold, darkness will cover the earth, and deep darkness the people. But the Lord will arise upon you, and his glory will appear upon you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Raise your eyes all around and see. They all gather, they come to you. Your sons will come from afar, and your daughters will be carried on the hip. Then you will see and be radiant, and your heart will thrill and rejoice, because the abundance of the sea will be turned unto you. A multitude of camels will cover you. The young camels of Midian and Ephah, all those from Sheba will come. They will bring gold and frankincense and proclaim good news of praise, of the praise of Yahweh. All the flocks of Kedar will be gathered to you. The rams of Nebaioth will serve you. They will go up in my altar and with acceptance, and I will glorify my glorious house. Who are these that fly like a cloud and like the doves to your window? Certainly the coastlands will wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish will come first to bring your sons from afar, the silver and the gold with them, for the name of the Lord God of Israel, and for the Holy One of Israel, because he has glorified you. Let's stop there for now. We'll talk about salvation. There's also a psalm where it talks about the king says, give justice to the son of the king. I want to talk about salvation because I want to use it as a way of telling you what God does to those who are saved and those who are awake. Okay? Salvation as the foundation of what? Of moving in royalty, moving in divinity. Okay? Right? So, first of all, salvation is the result of God reaching out to us. It's not us reaching out to God. Salvation is grounded in the divine desire or the divine structure for bringing humanity into God. Okay? But before we can do that, before we can say what salvation does, let's talk about Jesus first. Okay? Can we do that? We talk about Jesus first in the beginning. When the Bible talks about the light that shines, the reference is to what? Is to Christ coming into the world. We know that. Right? We know that the glory of the Lord rising upon us is the coming of the Messiah. We know that. Okay? The command to arise and shine has to do with a response to what? To the coming of the glory of the Lord. So, it's almost like this, that God, which what God's doing, God's saying, look, my glory is coming upon you. Okay? So if my glory is coming upon you, you need to get out of darkness and face the glory, which means that the shining is a reflexive principle, which means salvation is a reflection of the interior desire of God. The light in Isaiah is a response to the emergence or the inflow of the glory of God, or of, let's say, of the glory of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Okay? So you should arise and shine, what? Because the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Okay, so salvation is what? The power that God brings into the context of darkness to cause those who are asleep to wake up. Check this out because it makes me look funny. So, hold on a second. Excuse me, guys. I'll put this away. So, let's get going. So, what does it mean that you are saved? That you are saved. What does it mean? What is the purpose and the effect of salvation? So let's get off with, let's remove first of all the idea that we are going to go to heaven. That's for sure. But the effect of salvation is not just about going to heaven, is it? So the first effect of salvation. Drink something. Okay. So the first effect of salvation is to remove the scale that covers the eyes of a human being, or the skeleton, as we started with, is to raise or wake the human being from slumber. So to agree with is 98% of people in the world are asleep. Sleepwalking. Part of the problem with sleepwalkers is they have no idea about any other thing except that which concerns them. All right? So, if someone is sleepwalking or someone is in darkness, they cannot see what the future holds. So, first thing salvation does is to open what? Is to open up the eyes of the one that's asleep and also to remove the darkness. Okay? So talk about darkness, we're not talking about, when I talk about darkness, I'm not talking about sin. I'm talking about sleepiness. People in the world are asleep. They go along with everything that happens around them. Their response to life is mainly about what pleases them and what makes them happy. It's not about what changes the world. Are you okay? Part of the mark of darkness is people cannot see beyond their nose to save themselves from what they've been bound by. So salvation is first of all to make you conscious that you are asleep. To wake you up from sleep, to make you aware that there's something greater for you than repeating life's boring processes. You okay? So, arise and shine, for your light has come. It's funny, the light that has come, it says it's your light, right? But the light that is coming is the light of God. So let's look at this for a second. If the light that has come is your light, then that means that God's original intention for salvation is that you yourself will be the very let's call it this, the very rising of the light of God that has been submerged in that darkness. So the light that is coming is your light, but it's still the light of God. Because this is what it says. It says, a great darkness will fill the earth, but the Lord himself shall arise. So go back again. The light that has come, your light that has come, is not just an ordinary light. It's the light that is God. So let's get back. So which means that the light of that is God is hidden in you in what? In your sleepiness. So, which means that God's light has been a prisoner to your lack of consciousness. Which means that God's light has been a prisoner to your what? To your sleepy head. Are you okay? So, arise and shine. Kumi ore, kiva oreka. Arise and shine, for your light has come. And what is your light? Because he proceeds to tell you what your light is. But before he tells you that, he says that the great darkness will be upon the earth, and the great darkness will be upon the earth. But the Lord himself will rise upon you. The glory of the Lord has risen upon you. It's funny that God is telling us about this, but in fact, he says the light is ours. So in other words, the light is already yours. What keeps the light from shining is your love of sleeping. I'm not talking about you. You don't have to take it personal. You like to sleep. I like to sleep. But I'm not talking about literal sleep. I'm talking about metaphorical sleep. The desire not to be bothered. The whole idea that no one should trouble us. Or the idea that everything that comes around us is meant to make you bad. So remember we said, if everything that comes around you offends you, maybe you're asleep. People think that their sensitivity and getting angry means they are awake. But sometimes your oversensitivity is a sign of your sleepiness. Why? Because you repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, especially when it's not producing anything for you. You're sleeping. They call it madness, but I call it sleepiness. Most human beings are asleep. You know somebody is asleep when they like easy. Do you know that advertisement in the world puts us to sleep by giving us easy and free? How do we get lured into spending what we should not be spending? By being offered something that is easy and something that is free, because they have to put you to sleep in order to make you turn over what it is that they need you to do. It's a sleepy world. So salvation is giving. So Jesus Christ came into the world in order to wake humanity up to the light that is already present, to cause that light. Because he uses two words. He says, you arise. Then he says, the light has. Arise and shine, for your light has come. For the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. So there will be great darkness upon the earth. Let's put it this way. So let's just say that what the Bible is saying, you are in darkness. You're stuck in a no man's land. You think it's the devil that's holding you down, but it's not. You're just asleep. The devil is free to work around you because you're asleep. He's free to work around you because you're asleep. If you were awake, there's many things that will not be happening. Why am I saying if you were awake? Because a lot of the stuff you're doing has become so habitual and reactionary that you never really think about how you respond. You've been trained that everything that goes bad in your life is of the devil. Therefore, when towards you go, the reason is because I'm sensitive to God. No, the reason you think everything that happens to you around you is of the devil is because you're asleep. Because the day you wake up, the devil will cease to exist. I'm sorry. And his power will be less. Because that's something Jesus says. Look at this. If the owner of the house knew when the thief was coming, he'll do what? He will not let his house be broken into. So in other words, if the owner of the house knows, he'll be awake. I don't care what manner of thief it is. The first thing they're going to ask is anybody home? Are they asleep? So when you are asleep, and Jesus said it, he says when you're asleep, then the thief comes at night to take stuff. So get back to something. So salvation. What is salvation? Salvation is a lot of things. And one of the other things that I'm saying today that salvation is the what? The waking up from sleep. Is the waking up from sleep. I want to mess with people. The reason you run around looking for prophecies is because you're asleep. I'm telling you that again. Because you're looking for someone to soothe you, to give you something that will make you less responsible. If you want somebody to speak for you, you want somebody to hear God for you, you want somebody to even worship God for you. But if you were awake, and this is salvation by the way, you will speak to God for yourself. You will hear God for yourself. You okay? Not only will you hear God for yourself, you will worship God for yourself. You don't need winding by musicians to enter into the place where you actually look into the face of God. It's important to have musicians and to have music. It is. But you don't depend on that as the basis of your stirring your spirit. If your spirit is awake, you're going to find yourself soaring into the heavens before anybody plays anything. And then when they play something, it will take you higher. So many of us sit around sleeping like, wake me up when you're ready. But what God is telling us is that very light is inherent, is inside the person that is saved. That when the Bible says the glory of the Lord has risen upon you and tells you to arise and shine, it means there's a mutual arising. God arises and you arise. If you arise, God arises. You know that? Think about it. God's the one that said, arise and shine, for your light has come. The glory of the Lord has risen upon you. There's a mutual arising. God's movement is waiting for people who are awake. When you are awake, the intrinsic and the divinity that is interior in your being awakes also. Do you know that when you are asleep, your God in heaven is asleep? I'm sorry, did I just say that? God never sleeps. Don't get me wrong, but I'm telling you the truth. When you refuse to wake up, your God never wakes up. Your God patterns himself according to your response. God is awake all the time. But for you, when you are not awake, God is not awake for you. The reason for salvation is because it wakes man up to do what? To access the wakefulness of God. Sleepy people do not access God. God will not allow himself to be accessed by people who are asleep. That's why Jesus said he's not the God of the dead. Are you okay? He's not the God of the dead. He's the God of what? The living. He's not the God of those who are asleep. He's the God of those who are awake. I like Paul's passage. Awake, O ye sleepers. Arise from the dead. And then he says, and Christ shall give you light. So the light is not given to the person that is sleeping. The light is given to the wakeful person. And listen to this, okay? People, like I said before, people think they're awake because they're complaining about everything. But I want to submit to you that your very complaint and your very anger and the repetition of your reactionary processes shows that you're still asleep. You may not be asleep for me, but you may be asleep for your children. You may not be asleep to me, but you're asleep to your friends because you react to them from the position of sleep. You may not, okay, but I'm saying this, so now ask yourself, why did Jesus come? To bring forth salvation. And salvation is to create wakefulness. Without wakefulness, it is impossible to act royally. Try again. For your light has come. The glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Let me ask you, if you're asleep, how would you know when restoration is coming? Do you know you are, can I say it, passive aggressions? Means you're sleepy. Keep learning that. Passive aggressiveness comes from sleepy people. Oh, so I could hear a pin drop in the house. So salvation came to create wakefulness because wakefulness is the basis of royalty. Every culture that creates royalty, first of all, causes the person to wake up spiritually, psychically, and emotionally. Before you can be a king, you need to wake up. So I said that so. Salvation calls for wakefulness, right? Wakefulness from what? Sleep. Because, and wakefulness means coming to the light or releasing the light, causing the mutual light that is in you and that which is in God to become what? Interactive. His glory. The Lord himself shall arise and shine upon you. So when that happens, then all things begin to change. Now, if there's a context, and I want to be practical, if there's a context where you're having really, really, really difficult time, chances are you're not awake. Do you know you can sleep in one area and be awake in another area? And when you're asleep in something, even if God is yelling, you won't listen. Because all you're concerned about is that thing which you want. No matter how God screams, you won't listen. But when you wake up, right, in that context, God wakes up for you. All of a sudden, things change. So when transformation is coming, you won't see it. So if you are a human being that trusts men and not God, trusts people and not God, got a problem. Now you have to be grateful for the people that let God use them, as I told you last week. But your trust cannot be in God. Only cannot be in man. Excuse me, that was terrible. You know, your trust cannot be in man. Your trust has to be in God. Because if you trust mainly human beings and you put your whole stuff on them, you are asleep, because you're going to be like a what? Like a brush, like a shrub in the wilderness. You will not know when good things are coming. Right? So I'm almost done. So a person who is awake, who is saved, let's talk about salvation, is awake. A person who is awake lives in the light, right? They live in the light. So a person who is awake has the capacity to receive royalty. It's a kingship. Jesus Christ came into the world, right? Brought the light into the world. The light that lighted every man was coming into the world. When he came into the world, the first phrase that was talked about was, let's go see him who was born King of the Jews. So kingship is tied to salvation. And a sleepy person cannot be a king. You know, some of you are not like this. But we watch sleepy people in Congress this week. People whose personal grudge is greater than their relationship to the whole nation. They are asleep, and we are letting people who are asleep lead us. I'm serious. I don't want to go there, but it's not politics. It's just I was just so enthralled by the sleepiness of these guys. This was about nothing else but about personal hurt. It wasn't about you. Go down if you want. Fight with your family over them. But they're not fighting for you. Fighting for themselves. Are you okay? And that is the greatest sign of sleepiness. It's a lack of wakefulness in the things that matters. When a man abandons his family and says, I'm going to find my life, he's asleep. Sorry if you've done that, but you got to wake up because you're asleep. When a person operates in a way and they keep doing things to hurt people and they don't see a need to apologize for it, that person is asleep. People think they are not aware. They are aware of their personal stuff, but awareness of your personal stuff is not wakefulness. Because awareness creates consciousness. And any consciousness that is what they name must be pure consciousness, connected to truth. You okay? So we go back. So number one, a person who is saved, according to Scripture, is a king. Right? Okay? He's made us kings and priests. But your kingship cannot be manifest while you are still asleep. Oh, can I just say, a lot of us are not conscious. We're not aware. We're not conscious. So let me tell you the first point that is spoken of the king in the book of Psalms. It says, give the king justice. Give the son of the king justice. We'll finish this. Continue to talk about this. So, wakefulness leads to kingship. But a wakeful king or a wakeful king does not operate in injustice. Injustice is what? An imbalance of mercy. You okay? So again, injustice is an imbalance of what? Mercy. That means I show mercy only to the people I like. But I don't show mercy to the people I do not like. Or I show mercy so much so to the people that I don't like that the people I like suffer. The Scripture gives the justice. It takes wakefulness to understand this. Because justice is a balancing act. Are you okay? Sleepy people don't care about justice. Their question is always, what about me? 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 Me. That's what most people operate in. They think that if they get what's coming to them, that they've gotten justice. But justice is not just you getting what is coming to you. Justice is you operating in wakefulness and creating a path of light for everyone around you. Justice can only be done by wakefulness. Most people don't see what's happening to anybody else except themselves. Most groups do not see what's happening to anybody else except their group. When men talk, they talk as though women don't have injustice directed to them. When women speak, they speak as though injustice is only directed towards them. When blacks talk, they talk as though they're the only ones who are suffering in the world. When Jews talk, they talk as though they're the only ones who've ever been dealt with. I'm Jewish, so we've suffered. But when white people talk now, they talk as though everybody else's suffering is meaningless. This is the pointer to the fact that everyone is asleep. We got to wake up. Even the people that claim to be saved, sometimes, sadly, are more sleepier than the people in the world. Because they are the ones who fight every movement of justice in the world. You want me to give you an example? Christians were the first ones to fall in line with the Nazis. We should not forget that. And turn on the Jews. Oh, come on, guys. It's so easy to use religion to hurt other people because religion sometimes puts you to sleep. I'm going to be quiet right now. It's amazing how people come to church, walk out of the, if you go to big churches, walk out of the parking lot and fight and have an argument. Do you think when the pastor was talking or when the preacher was preaching? No. Because sometimes religion is practiced in sleepiness. Come on. We have to really deal with this. Why are we not in the forefront of justice? Why are we only in the forefront of getting something for ourselves? Do you know that during slavery, it was Christians who defended slavery? It's recorded. So in other words, what they've proved is that religion has a way of putting people to sleep. Now the media is the new religion. I'm done. The media is the new religion. It has now developed a technology for putting human beings to sleep in the name of argument or reporting. Only what they want. So, one of the things I want you, if you are saved, salvation should be an antidote to this sleeping pill. Are you saved? Has your light arisen? Have you stirred up yourself in such a way that heaven's light that is embedded in you is shining so bright that the world knows you're awake? The devil doesn't want to operate around you because he knows you can see. He knows you're awake. You tell me. I don't want to make some people. The word is asleep. One of Jordan Peterson. Anybody know who Jordan Peterson is? Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is a psychologist from Canada. It's amazing to me how we call this stuff, the conservative call it wokeness. And I think the conservatives are just asleep as the guys on the other side. I'm sorry. I think we're just asleep. Look at what's happening to him right now. And I'm using this as an example. The Psychological Association in Canada is now going to take his license away because he disagrees with them on certain things. I mean, he does use tough language, but I think his point is to be listened to. Because he's a conservative, that's true. But you don't shut people down because you disagree with them or because your emotion is hurt. How do you shut people down because you don't feel good? Their theoretical construct you don't take seriously because the whole world is now, the whole Psychological Association in Ontario is going to take his license away because he disagrees with them, because he refuses to call a woman who claims she's a man by a male gender term. Are you getting my point? Look, listen. I said I was going to make a joke today, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm not going to be in trouble. My rooster, and this is a metaphor, rose up the other day and told me to call it a dog. That's how ridiculous this stuff is. My rooster is now claiming to be a horse. But we need to stop this nonsense. So now, if I refuse to call my rooster a horse, then I'm going to have a problem. Allow people to do. Now, I think you should call people what they want you to call them, but people who don't do it should not be punished for it. If you want to be a cat, be a cat. I'll call you a cat. I will. But the point is, you don't punish somebody else because the world is asleep. Let people be free. Let people be free. Argue with them if you want to, but don't take somebody's license because they refuse to call you or she when you're a man. I'm sorry, I don't go with that. I know. I'm an independent person now. I'm no longer a Republican. I can't be a Republican after all that mess. I'm an independent. Wake up from your sleep. Wake up from your sleep. Sleep is when you won't let other people be free, but you want to be free. You want me to call you certain things, but you won't give me the freedom not to call you that. See, it's an irony. It's a sleepy world. Everyone is trying to control somebody else. But if you are saved, your salvation means you deal with justice. And justice means that you treat everybody according to the pattern of truth. That you treat everybody equally. That's impossible. You treat everybody according to truth. It's not the same as treating everybody equally. Because if I treated everybody equally, then somebody with a grade 11 education who knows nothing should have the same work as a medical doctor. That is a statement. Stop doing that. We should not all be treated equally. Under the law, yes, if I commit the same crime, I should. But you should not. Here I go. Stop the sleepy stuff. Stop the sleepy train. The sleepy train is causing problem. I'm defending Jordan Peterson. Sue me. He has a right to call people that he's a psychologist. He's doing a good job for the people that are going to him. Why must he be like everybody else? You don't need to be like everybody else. She's an artist. I want her to draw like Picasso. If she doesn't draw like Picasso, she can't work with me. She got to leave that stuff she's doing and do pottery like Michelangelo. Whoever. We are getting to the la-la nonsense land, where the liberals are wanting everyone to act the same and do what they want, and the conservatives are no better. What we call justice is not justice. Justice is a measure of a light that allows other people to see clearly and operate in a way that glorifies God. And this is the image of God in them to be, to allows them to walk as a divine being on earth. Just because I refuse to call somebody a she shouldn't be the reason you take my license away. Churches are doing the same thing. A pastor says, no, I'm not going to call you a she because you're a man. I'm not going to call you a he because you're a woman. Get in your group and you guys call each other whatever you want, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, that's how I identify. I identify as a cat. Call me a cat. I'm sorry, I'm being mean today. But rising, and waking up demands that we stop some of this foolishness. I'm not talking about, people doing what they do privately. But now you are in public telling me this is how I'm supposed to behave. It's a different thing. When it's a public sphere conversation, it changes. Let's have a public conversation. And I'm not going to let you, a strong 18-year-old man, go and compete in a 14-year-old girl's game. I refuse. And the media keeps putting people to sleep and acting like this is not real. Like everybody who does this is wrong. No, we are not. Now, you can marry whoever you want. But I'm not going to let you, a 30-year-old man, marry a 12-year-old. I don't care what you say. Now, so like the guy here in California who wants to marry a 13-year-old. You are 30-something, will marry a 13-year-old. God forbid. God forbid. Have we lost our mind? Salvation means we have to wake up. And if we have to wake up, we have to wake up to our kingship. But our kingship demands truth as its foundation. Are you okay? Jesus Christ came into the world. Listen to this. Before somebody says, oh, Jesus will not do that. Yes, Jesus will. Jesus will. This is the guy who called the Pharisees hypocrites. Says, woe unto you, Pharisees. You know, because you're too far to see. No, I'm joking. But he, Sadducees, because you're too sad to see. You know, he made statements about life. These same guys forget. Jesus said he that made them in the beginning made them male and female. We don't want to push that because people will do what they want to do. We don't need to legislate that. But when it comes to some of the stuff that we are doing right now with children, trying to talk to children, trying to sexualize children before they're the age where that is the case, I refuse. When it comes to telling me that you can do whatever you want, do it in your house. And just make sure you don't do it to the children in your house. Because once you start doing it to the children, you open it up for the public to come inside. And people are pushing the argument. You can't tell me what to do with my child. Really? Do you know that the child is not yours? It's the world's. It's the community's. I was saying again, as an African, that child is not yours. You can't just kill the child. You can't beat the child to death. You can't sexualize the child. The child is not yours. The child belongs to the community. The child belongs to the country. The child belongs to all of us. Sue me. And I'll show up in court with bells and whistles. But the thing is, salvation means to wake up. Wake up, you all. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, evangelicals. Wake up, liberals. Wake up, conservatives. Wake up, independent. Wake up, men. Wake up, women. Wake up, ye socialists. Wake up, ye capitalists. Wake up, everyone, wake up. Wakefulness is a powerful thing. When we wake up, God will wake up for us. Jesus came into the world to bring wakefulness to the human soul, to raise us back up. We need to be careful how we deal with people. Now, I don't think anyone should get on television or on stuff and start attacking gay people. That's not how it works. This is a choice they're making. That's my point. My point is, it's a choice. It's their choice, but I will keep preaching that that is not the perfect way. You're free, but it's not the perfect way. Because in the scheme of all things, when you shut yourself off from producing the next generation, you're doing humanity more harm than good. And you're even making it worse for the people that are like you to ever be created. I leave that to Jesus came into the world. I'm not attacking people, not attacking anybody, but there are things that believers have to wake up from. How is your kingship? How is your mode of justice? Is it only justice for your own group, or is it justice for the world? Is it only justice when somebody agrees with you, or is it justice for everybody? What does your salvation really, really mean? Is it so easily co-opted by politicians, by talking heads, by systems. Your salvation is what God has given you to allow you to tune heaven and to tune kingship and to tune the world towards recreation, if you may. Stay awake. Amen.